This is the Harley Benton T-style kit that I've been wanting to try building for quite a while now. I've heard loads and loads of good things about Harley Benton kits. I had Harley Benton base for a little while that I raffled for charity eventually, and I've always wanted to build an Esquire, so I thought I'd try one of their kits out. But I've always wanted an Esquire with block inlays. So in order to get the block inlays, I needed to buy a Jazzmaster neck, and so I bought two Harley Benton kits, and the idea was that I would use the Jazzmaster neck on the Telecaster style, and I would use the Telecaster neck on the Jazzmaster style. But I like the neck so much on the Jazzmaster that then I went and bought a third kit so that I could have Jazzmaster neck on both the Telly and the Jazzmaster, and then eventually I will use the Telly neck for another project. But basically, I've been massively impressed with these kits. They're really well put together. They fit really nicely. There's a few adjustments I did. Obviously, this isn't the original pick guard you get with it. You get a white pick guard with this particular one, but I wanted it to match the tortoiseshell on the Jazzmaster, which we'll have a look at in a minute. Also, because it's an Esquire, I've got rid of the neck pickup. One other slight modification I made is the kits come with a string through the bridge style arrangement. I wanted to string through the body, so I drilled through and put a neck ferrule plate, a body ferrule plate for the strings on the back, so that I can have the strings coming through the body. I also swapped the silver chrome saddles for brass saddles from a Wilkinson bridge I had, and the pickup that was sent with the kit, which is a Roswell, I think it's called a Roswell, was fine, but I wanted something a bit more twangy, so this is a Fender Tex-Mex pickup. I also bought a blank switch plate because I've never been a fan of tone controls, and if you've ever seen my other videos, you'll know that I'm terrible for taking tone controls off things or not putting tone controls on things. So I bought a blank switch plate and I drilled it out, and I've just got one volume. There's no tone, no switching, no nothing. It's pick up on, and that's it, and that's just the way I like things. These come with a, what I guess is called a paddle headstock, where you cut it yourself, which, as you can see, I've gone for a sort of halfway between a traditional style and a more sort of 80s pointy style, somewhere in between. And the finish, which is Daphne blue, I got some nitrocellulose paint from Northwest Guitars, and this is 3 coats of colour and 5 coats of nitrocellulose lacquer on top. It didn't come out super shiny. It's quite a matte finish. I think I need to put a lot more coats and do a lot more polishing, but I kind of like the matte finish, so I went with it. And that was the same for the Jazzmaster. So this is the Jazzmaster. This is all stock. I didn't change anything on this. This is the Roswell pickups. This is the same switching, the same pots, the same bridge, everything. Unlike the Telecaster, which I modified a bit, as explained before. This is everything you get with the kit. The only thing I did differently was the two pickups come with a plug system where you can just click them together behind the scratch plate, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm always worried that they could come undone, so I cut the plugs off and I soldered straight to the switch. But that's the only difference. Everything else on this is stock. I cut the headstock to match the other one, so they look like a pair. And I used the same paint, the same amount of paint, 3 coats of blue and 5 coats of lacquer, which was just enough for 1 can of each to do both guitars. After that, the cans were empty, and as mentioned before, I could have put more coats of nitrocellulose on to make it more shiny and polish it up, but I kind of like this matte finish. It feels nice in the hands, and it's just less reflective. It's just a personal preference. So let's get into some sounds. I will be playing these through a Fender Mustang modelling amp on the Fender Twin setting with a bit of reverb for the clean, and for the dirty drive sounds I will add a TC Electronic Honeypot fuzz for a bit of grit, and that amp will be mic'd with an SM57 into Acid 11 software.